stories of transformation. And we're going to start out with Sokeo Ross. Sokeo is a performing artist here at Everett. He started coming to our school when he was in high school, and now he's been teaching here for many years. He's formed his own hip-hop theater company, and he's done many wonderful things that he's going to tell you about. Sokeo.
So, like Aaron said, my name is Sokeo Ross. I've been here for a very long time. So I'll tell my age later on. You can guess it for now. But recently, I went to Cambodia. It's my first time going to Cambodia, and did a lot of research and documenting on family and stuff like that. So there was a fear of change and a fear of transformation for me. So when I was younger, this is what you adapted to. Once you're safe, you're safe. You're in your comfort zone. You don't want anything else coming in to change that because you're afraid it might take you somewhere else where you're not ready for. So I'm going to take you guys back and see how the change and the transformation actually progressed as the time went. So in 1975 to 1979, the Khmer Rouge ransacked Cambodia, took it over, destroyed every single thing that was in there. Documents, birth certificates, papers, the family structure, loves, emotions, religion, arts, anything that had to do with the education of that matter was all completely destroyed. It was brought back to a thing called Year Zero. So they basically started over and over again as farmers. And everything that they did was for a guy named Pol Pot, right? A communist and stuff like that. So he was actually controlling everything. My parents were going through this at the time. Now, when the Khmer Rouge came in, this is actually a rice field in Cambodia. My mother was sent here to work for the years of her lives, doing this stuff, getting the rice together, and they were here breaking rocks and hard manual labor like that. So my family was split apart. My grandmother was by herself with a group of people she didn't know. My father was actually in hiding. He ran away because he was in the army. If they found him, they probably would have killed him. So he was in hiding for about a year, and he came back as a fisherman. He changed clothes, I think. So then he would fish for the Khmer Rouge. Only reason they kept him alive. My mother was also pushed away, and she was also working as well. Now, every now and then, my father would save some rice, and whatever chance he got, he would try to make it to my mother and bring it to her because they were separated for a little while. Now, what they got to eat was a bowl of water with maybe a handful of rice, once or twice per day, and that's about it. So there is no nutrition factor, there's nothing like that. So when you see in the killing fields, people cutting slits into lizards and stuff and draining their blood, that was for nourishment, for protein and stuff, so they can stay alive. Now, it's, they had to find a way to escape. So a lot of them went to the Thailand border. It was close by. But what happened was the Khmer Rouge planted landmines everywhere, even plans of escape. So if you were lucky enough, you made it to the Thailand border. If not, you would be amputees. And in Cambodia, there's a lot of amputees because of this. And there are landmines still going on that they're finding till this day. So what my father did, since he was in the army, he knew a lot of stuff with the military. He had to track his way from Cambodia to the Thailand border and then track his same way back to take the rest of the people with him. Unfortunately, a lot of people didn't make it all the way back. And because of that, from the Khmer Rouge times to the Thailand refugee camp stuff, my mom lost about 5 or 6 kids. So I would have had 5 or 6 brothers with me. But this is how the refugee camps would be like. When I was born in the back of an 18-wheeler truck. That was the first hospital that they ever had. And I was a very, very sick person, very, very sick child. So when I was born, they named me Sokeo, because the place that I was born at was called Sokeo. So Sokeo seemed fitting, but I wasn't getting better. I was very, very sick. My stomach was almost transparent, but you could see my intestines. So they brought me to a monk, and he did some blessings and stuff, and changed my name to Fati for good luck. After that, with medication, I became better, and I got better, and I felt better. In 1982, my brother was also born in a refugee camp in Cao Dam, close by. So now what? Now you wait. You wait to see if you're gonna go back to Cambodia after all the drama has ceased, or wait to be sponsored to go to the United States. People stay there for decades, even years and stuff like that. In 1983, we actually got sponsored to come to the United States. We went to California first, and then Iowa. In Iowa, we had to start all over. Of course, there was a small apartment that they gave us. And the small apartment only had 1 room, a kitchen, and a bathroom. And in that main room, there were 2 beds, and we all stayed on the beds. My sister was born in Iowa. Lucky her, she was born in the United States. So, but in order to come to the United States, since documents and papers and everything was destroyed, they had to redo that. So we had to get new documents done, new names done, new social security cards and registration cards and alien green cards and stuff like that in order to come here. If not, we would have never made it. From Iowa, we came to Rhode Island. The only reason we came to Rhode Island because it was a jewelry district that was paying cash and we needed money. So we drove across country in our van all the way to Rhode Island. When we came to Rhode Island, we lived in a place, in a neighborhood like this, in the west end of Providence, Rhode Island. And there was a lot of gangs. It was very, very poor. The poverty was very, very high. And the house that I lived at was a gang household. So my house got shot up every other month. Luckily, I didn't meet one of their bullets. And fortunately, the gang members did not bother me because my father took them to work. They worked with my father, so they kind of looked after me for a little bit. I didn't get any trouble. Now, in the meantime, I myself became part of a gang affiliate. I was never in the gang, but I always hung around gang members. Because remember, when they came here, there was nothing else but work. There was no time to play. So the family structure wasn't that great. I didn't learn anything about love, emotions, feelings. To love them, you would have to fear them. That meant that you loved them. If you were afraid of your parents, that meant you loved them. So that's the only thing that I knew at the time. So where did I go? I went with the gang members, where they made me feel welcome. At the time, that's what I wanted, and that's what I did. This did not come until a lot later, when we actually moved out of that neighborhood. We moved away from the gang neighborhood, from the violence, from the poverty, to a better neighborhood. It was a big, big step. Not a lot, but it is a big step. And I went to classical high school, which was a college prep school. So, which meant I strayed away from all the gang members and all the friends I made back then because they didn't go to college prep school. So I made it there. I don't know how, but I made it to classical high school. And from then on, it just kept straying away, and I found out about a place called the Carriage House, Everett Company Stage and School. My friends brought me here to take a breakdancing class. And I was breakdancing at the time because that was a hobby that I enjoyed, so I started doing this. And Dorothy Jungles and Teresa Jungles approached me, 2 white ladies coming up to a little kid like me at the time, and I was kind of like, I just came to breakdance, that was it. They asked me if I wanted to do a show. I did one show, and from then on I became part of the core group. So I kept doing show after show after show, and it just got better. At the age of 18, 19, I went on my first tour. In 2 to 3 years, I went from my first kids show, educational show, to my first tour. I didn't have any lines, but I was on tour and I was happy about it, so that was that. And then college came. I didn't feel like college was a thing for me at the moment. I decided to become an artist. That made my parents very, very angry. To come from the Khmer Rouge to the Thailand refugee camps to work their asses off here in the United States just so we can get by, for me to become an artist and make no money didn't make any sense to them. What they wanted was a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, anything else that I could not do, that I didn't want to do, because I didn't want to create myself in that way, in that manner. When I went on tour for the first time in '99, I felt at home. I felt like the stage was my place, and doing this kind of work was a great thing for me. So I kept doing it, and I defied what they wanted. Unfortunately, they saw otherwise, and they still think sometimes that, what am I doing with my life? So that was that. So I became an artist, and years went by. So many opportunities has come to me because of Everett Company Stage and School. Now I wanted to do the same thing again with another group of generation, another younger organization. So I talked to Dorothy about starting a group called Case Closed. In 2004, I did auditions. We had about 15 people. So since 2004, Case Closed has been going on till now, and it's still gonna persist. And it gave an opportunity to a whole bunch of kids to actually come out and perform and do what they love and what they're passionate about and what they want to do in life. They're becoming artists professionally on a place like this. And I came here because I couldn't afford to pay anywhere else. This place took people that couldn't do that, all right? So I'm giving that opportunity back to them so hopefully they can do the same thing and so on and so forth. You can't save everybody, but you can save a few, so hopefully they can save a few, and that's like a domino effect. Pretty soon, that domino effect will go around the world and hit right back to where it started. All right, so show Case Closed. Bang, that's them. I blurred them out because I wanted you guys to see me. It's about me right now, it's not about them. But that's what they do. They've been performing for such international acts as Snoop Dogg, T-Pain, all these other great acts, and they performed anywhere from a community center to P-PAC. So look out for Case Closed, they're on their way. But I still wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't happy yet. I wanted to do something that really, really meant something worldly. So I've been talking to Dorothy for years about doing a one-man show and telling my story and developing personal stories. So recently I've been working with a lot with youth from the DYS system and youth anywhere else, at-risk youth, and people who are not at risk, about personal stories and why it is important for community development. In order to develop that community, you have to know who lives there, what their issues are, and what is going on in that community. If not, there's no point of developing that community. And the way I do it is through the arts, with personal stories and dance and theater and collaborating. So recently I've been doing that. And I've actually gone back to school. I'm at College Unbound now. Hopefully my parents will be happy when I graduate in May. May, that's soon. That's soon. And I wrote my third RISCA grant. I got approved for the RISCA grant to fund this project, and it partially funded my trip to Cambodia. And thanks to RISCA, College Unbound, and mostly Everett, I was able to do that. So switch. And this is my grandmother, and that is not my biological grandfather because he passed away a long time ago, but he is my grandfather. And this was the first time that I met my family in over 33 years. I've never seen them. I've spoken on the phone with my grandmother maybe a few times. I couldn't really understand her. And here's the thing about family structure. Khmer Rouge came in and broke everything, including family structure. And I didn't grow up with family structure or love or anything like that. Till this day, I'm still learning family structure, love, affection, and all that good stuff. But when I went there, I didn't expect what I expected. I actually went to Cambodia with no expectations. I wanted to take Cambodia as is. The way it is, just come to me, give me it all. And I was greeted with hugs and kisses and tears of joy, and the whole community came. I was not ready for it, so I was emotionally, it was intense. Tears, and I didn't know what to do, but there was no language barrier. The best language barrier we had was the hugs and the kisses that I didn't grow up with. And that meant everything to me and to her. So, but when I went there, I also decided to do some documenting and research for my project as well. So I found out my mom's old house has been rebuilt. It's a little shack. That's what they lived in years and years ago before the Khmer Rouge came in. And they actually went back to the same neighborhood, the same village that they were in before they got pushed out away from it. So it's kind of like almost full circle. It's leaving home to come back to home, which is a great thing. She actually just built her house about 5-6 years ago. So that is a beautiful thing. And another thing that I was going to was I was doing volunteer work in Cambodia. I volunteered in 2 places. The Cambodia Summit Foundation, which offers housing, formal schooling, food, shelter, performing arts, musicians, whatever you want to be in there, that's where they do it. These kids were rejected by their parents because they couldn't afford to take care of them. And they were also runaways because they were being beat from other organizations. So now, a good friend of mine, Molly Sum, who works there, gave me the opportunity to volunteer, which I took quickly. I didn't even hesitate, so I got to work with them. Now this place is called Tiny Toons. It's an organization that gives informal education, gives arts education, gives performing arts education, gives hip hop education, all within a couple buildings. It's a rundown building that they found, and it's right in the heart of where the poverty is. So this is a great thing. I had a chance to take care of that and help them out with the kids and stuff, and professional development with the staff. I mean, these kids can't go to school because their parents can't afford it. Now they're going to school with flip-flops or no shoes on. You know, it's dirty, and I'm teaching them. It's the most ugly, beautiful thing you've ever seen. So, up next. And speaking of transformation and change, one of the biggest transformations ever that I've encountered or had a chance to interview with these 2 gentlemen. We have KK on my right and then Short on my left. These 2 were gang members. KK was from Los Angeles, Short was from Oregon. And they were both deported because of gang violence, armed robbery, whatever you did, drug dealing, whatever it is, you name it, they did it. They were deported. Now the thing is, when you get deported, you do your time. Whatever, 7 to 10 years, you do your 7 to 10 years in the United States. After your term is done, you do another couple years in the United States because they're not going to release you because you're supposed to get deported. So you spend the rest of your years there until they gather all the deportees together so you can be deported together. Now you're in Cambodia. You think you're going to live life free? You're not. Because now the immigration over there, since the government is somewhat corrupted, they hold the kids for ransom. So they call their parents and say, hey, you know what? I have your kid here. It'll be $5,000 to get him out. Luckily, most of them just did their time because they didn't have the money. They did their time and they got out. And now the best thing about them is that they started the Tiny Toons organization. Gang members from the United States started a Tiny Toons organization that gave kids informal education and performing arts education and stuff like that. And I interviewed them. They've been there for about over 9 years now. And they started a family, kids and stuff like that. And most of their family is in the United States. And I asked them, if you had a wish, we grant you one wish, what would you do? You have an opportunity to come back to the United States. Would you take it? I interviewed 3 of them. They all said no. Because they felt like they were rejected in the United States. They never felt as a part of the United States. And they never felt like they were free in the United States. I mean, they'll come back to visit family, but then they want to go back. They said they have a belonging in Cambodia. They're there for a reason. They're there for the kids. Their main reason not leaving is because of this organization with the kids. These are the kids. I call them lives of poverty, smiles of gold. They have the biggest smiles on earth. They come with nothing and they go with nothing except for this smile. And I was happy to be able to be there and just to see that and to teach them. And they actually taught me a lot of things as well too. So affection is one of them. They're very affectionate. I don't know why. They're all up on me, so. They're all up on me. And with that in mind, for the last one. So change is a thing that does not happen overnight. It's progressive, it's gradual, so it happens to a great thing. So with my project, from refugee camp to project, I am telling these stories out here. It's a one-man show, and I'm gonna show you right now a little snippet of the show. So hopefully you guys, this is all my work that I've been doing for years in Cambodia stuff. This all goes together. Hopefully you enjoy it. Woo!
Before Sokeo was born, the Khmer Rouge took over Cambodia and began killing people. People with glasses, and people who had been to college, and anyone else that opposed them. Sokeo's mother and father fled from the turmoil and suffering of war to Thailand. 6 of Sokeo's brothers and sisters were lost to hunger and disease. In the refugee camp, Sokeo's mom became pregnant again. She was so sad she didn't know what to do. She struggled to bear Sokeo, and finally, he was born in the back of a truck. He was given 3 names. Vati by a monk, who cured his sickness and named him for luck. Chup for the presence of a flowery face, and Sokeo for a place filled with suffering, anguish, and confusion. A lonely stranger tried to buy Sokeo for a child of his own, but his mother would not let him go. Finally, they escaped to America, where they lived in housing projects full of violence and gangs. He observed car crashes and kids getting beat for wearing the wrong color. Then he discovered hip-hop. It reflected his reality. He learned that he too was an artist who could express himself through theater, poetry, and dance.